Over 80 billion disposable chopsticks are thrown away worldwide every year. And you might be surprised to learn that you're reusing someone else's chopsticks. But don't worry, not at the dinner table, but in your own home. At a unique workshop, discarded wooden chopsticks, instead of ending up in landfills, are collected, cleaned, and compressed under immense pressure. Through the exquisite craftsmanship of artisans, what was once considered worthless waste is reborn into luxurious and incredibly durable tables, chairs, and wall panels. In this video, let's explore the magical journey of transforming discarded chopsticks into valuable furniture. Among countries worldwide, China is the largest consumer of disposable chopsticks, with approximately 45 billion pairs used annually. If all these chopsticks were buried or burned, millions of tons of wood would quickly become waste, putting further pressure on forest resources and generating significant greenhouse gas emissions during disposal. Therefore, more and more businesses are beginning to look for ways to extend the lifespan of chopsticks, which are seemingly only valuable for a single meal. One of the pioneering companies is ChopValue, a Canadian-based business that transforms used chopsticks into furniture and building materials. According to the company, using recycled chopsticks instead of virgin wood can reduce carbon dioxide emissions by up to 1,681 kilograms for every cubic meter of material produced. Not only that, the carbon already stored in the wood remains locked inside the product for years, instead of being quickly released back into the atmosphere if the chopsticks were burned or decomposed. But no matter how modern the cleaning and sterilization process is, one question still lingers. Would you be willing to use a table made from chopsticks that have been contaminated with other people's saliva? Before they can be transformed into tables or chairs, used chopsticks must overcome what is considered the most difficult stage of the entire process: collection. They are collected directly from restaurants, sushi bars, and Asian restaurant chains that have partnered with the recycling facility. Each facility is equipped with a separate container, specifically for disposable wooden chopsticks. When the containers are full, a collection vehicle arrives to replace them with new ones and transport all the chopsticks to the factory. Sorting at the source significantly reduces impurities and maintains the quality of the wood, making it suitable for recycling into new materials. At the factory, the chopsticks are weighed, inspected, and any unwanted materials such as plastic, metal, or severely damaged pieces are removed. Only after passing this initial screening process do they officially enter the cleaning and sterilization stage, preparing them for their journey to becoming brand new furniture. After being cleaned and sterilized, the chopsticks are still just a jumbled pile of wood, with thousands of them stacked and facing in all directions. Therefore, each batch of approximately 2,000 to 3,000 pairs of chopsticks, equivalent to nearly 40 to 65 pounds of wood, is dumped onto a specially designed sorting table. A system of partitions divides the large pile of chopsticks into smaller compartments, allowing workers to quickly separate, inspect, and remove any bent, cracked, broken, or excessively short ones. Simultaneously, each chopstick is rotated and stacked in the same direction, forming neat bundles of nearly uniform size. Next, the bundles of chopsticks are completely immersed in a tank of water-based resin, a type of water-based plastic that acts as a binder for the entire material. During the immersion process, a thin layer of resin evenly covers the surface of each chopstick and gently penetrates the natural capillaries of the wood. After being coated with resin, the bundles of chopsticks are left to drain for a few minutes, allowing any excess resin to flow back into the tank. After being coated with a water-based resin, the bundles of chopsticks are neatly arranged on metal trays and placed in a preheated oven at approximately 392 degrees Fahrenheit. This temperature is even higher than the recommended temperature for baking many dishes in a home oven, sufficient to kill most bacteria, mold, and microorganisms remaining after the collection process. Simultaneously, the heat evaporates the water in the water-based resin, helping the coating adhere more evenly and stably to the surface of each chopstick. This is a particularly important step because all the materials were previously used in restaurants before being recycled, so they must meet strict hygiene standards before moving on to the next stage. After the heating cycle is complete, the trays of chopsticks are removed from the oven and allowed to cool briefly. At this point, workers use rubber mallets to gently tap each bundle of chopsticks to separate them, as the water-based resin during heating has caused the chopsticks to stick together in a compact block. Next, the chopsticks are placed into steel molds and weighed precisely. Each mold contains approximately 12 pounds of material. The molds are then placed in a hydraulic press. In the composite wood manufacturing industry, the pressing pressure typically reaches 700 pounds per square inch, sufficient to eliminate almost all voids between the chopsticks. Simultaneously, the water-based resin is pressed into every contact surface, creating thousands of bonding points between the wood strips. As a result, from over 1,000 separate chopsticks, the press creates a sheet of material about 1 inch thick, with a dense structure and sufficient hardness for further processing into tables, chairs, or other furniture products. A block of material, after being pressed, cannot immediately become a table, chair, or panel. At this stage, it is only a large, rough blank, with an uneven surface and rough edges. First, the block of material is cut into smaller pieces according to the size of each product. Then, they are fed into computer-controlled cutting and shaping machines to cut, drill, mill grooves, and shape precisely according to the design. This ensures that each piece has uniform dimensions and can be assembled accurately with other parts. Next, the material surface is sanded multiple times to remove cuts, smooth edges, and highlight the natural pattern of the internal rods. Finally, the product is coated with oil or a protective paint layer to increase moisture resistance, prevent dirt accumulation, and maintain a durable and beautiful surface over time. Before being shipped, each product must undergo a final quality control check to ensure it meets standards for size, finish, and aesthetics. After all processing steps are completed, the material sheets are assembled into finished products or transported to furniture factories. Depending on the design, they can be used to make tabletops, chairs, shelves, cabinets, partitions, wall panels, and many other decorative products. By retaining the natural patterns of each chopstick, each sheet of material has unique grain patterns, and almost no two products are exactly alike. Today, Canada and the United States are two of the largest markets for furniture made from recycled chopsticks, with products found in homes, offices, restaurants, cafes, and many public spaces. From an item used for only a few dozen minutes, these seemingly worthless chopsticks can now continue to accompany people for many years. However, recycling is not a magic bullet that can transform any type of waste into a new product without cost. For disposable chopsticks to become a table or interior panel, they still have to go through a series of steps such as collection from restaurants, transportation, sorting, sterilization, gluing, heat pressing, processing, and finishing. Each step consumes electricity, materials, machinery, and labor, while still generating a certain amount of emissions. If the collection process is inefficient, or the transportation distance is too far, the environmental benefits of recycling will also be significantly reduced. That's why many experts believe that recycling should be considered a solution after prioritizing reducing consumption and reuse. Also, because of the investment in the entire processing and production process, the price of products made from recycled chopsticks is often not cheap, even though the initial materials are almost worthless. What customers are really paying for isn't the old chopsticks themselves, but the technology, design, and even the collection system that has transformed an item used for only a few dozen minutes into a product that can accompany people for many more years. Looking back on this entire journey, perhaps the most surprising thing isn't that old chopsticks can be recycled, but that they still hold so much value after fulfilling their purpose on the dining table. With the right collection, cleaning, pressing, and processing techniques, an item used for only a few dozen minutes can continue to accompany people for many years in a completely new form. Of course, recycling can't solve the entire waste problem, but it shows that many seemingly worthless materials can still have an extended life if handled correctly. And who knows, the next time you sit in front of a table or a wooden panel with a unique pattern, you might wonder if it contains thousands of chopsticks that once appeared on someone's dining table. If you enjoy stories like this, don't forget to subscribe to the channel to discover more interesting journeys hidden behind familiar everyday objects.